Welcome along, guys. Well, it's part 2 of my CB1000 review. I've had this bike for about 10 days now. I've given it a really good workout. I have twiddled with its nipples to improve the handling. So it's time to go back out on this bike and give you my final thoughts on the beautiful CB1000R. Let's do it! Unfortunately, it's rush hour. I'm doing this review in rush hour again, so I'm sticking off the main roads, keeping it on the back roads, This is quite a good. The back roads are the best place to test this bike though, because it gives that suspension a decent workout, and I can see if the changes I've made have had any real benefit. If you haven't seen my other review, I'll stick a link up the top there. Go check it out, because I discuss a lot of the specs about the bike. I don't want to cover specs in this video. I want to just cover, what I think to it in the end after living with it. My main criticism of this bike was the suspension was a bit too soft, a bit too wallowy, and I've had a mess around with the suspension. The front forks are actually decent shower forks. They're the same forks as what were on the GSXR. This road is actually quite bouncy, and I've actually get bounced around quite a lot now. But they're the same forks which are on the GSXR, which are great forks. It's a decent front end on this bike. I've worked out how to ride this bike. If you do want to throw this around, you can do it, but you have to ride it a little bit differently. Before, when you go for the front brake, it loaded the front end up and it unsettled the bike quite a lot. What I've started doing is actually braking with the rear brake. So if you're going into a corner, setting the bike speed up with the rear brake, and that kept everything level, kept everything neutral, and made the best out of the handling. And you could you could actually hustle it around at a really decent pace. Yeah, so braking with the rear brake and laying off the front a bit more seemed to be the way forward. But the front end, there is still an issue, and I think it's because this bike's got a large amount of trail. I think the front wheel is quite a long way away from you, and I think that's why it does have that slightly detached feel still, because of the distance the front wheel is away. And I think that is the biggest problem with the feel and feedback you're getting from the front. But with the adjustments made to the suspension, it is improved, but it's not quite perfect for a speed street racer like me. So you come to a corner, you set the speed with the rear brake, you lay it in, you power out of the corner. It's important you power out of the corner. It does wallow a little bit still, but powering out of the corner keeps the suspension settled. Always try and power through a corner. So how have I got on with this bike over the last 10 days? What have I found about it? What do I like about it? First thing I love about this bike is the brake feel. The brakes are excellent. The front brake is really progressive, really powerful. It's the same brakes as what's on the Fireblade, so they're good. A good setup which has been around for years. The rear brake is also very good. It's got a big rear disc, which I think helps the braking performance from the rear, which is just as well with the suspension, that you've got a decent rear brake to set it up. So the brakes are excellent. That's my top thing I love about this bike. These are in no particular order, by the way. I'll just add that. But the second one of my top 5 is the looks of the bike. I think it's a good looking bike. It's a handsome machine. The brushed aluminium, the black, I like that retro look. I think they've done a good job. If you're into your retro look bikes, I think this is a good example of one done well. I like all the LED lighting. The headlight with the LED lighting works really well as well. It's sort of modern but retro. I think the whole bike looks very, very nice, with a single-sided swinging arm as well. Just tops it off. So looks wise, styling wise, I think it's a win. Another thing which is very good, my testicles gone. Another thing which is very good is the throttle response. it is a ride-by-wire throttle, it's not a cable throttle, and Honda have managed to pull off one of the best throttle feels I've ever ridden. There's no snatchiness anywhere whatsoever. I think they've taken a long time getting the mapping spot on. There's no snatchiness in any of the modes, even in the power mode, which is what the full power mode, which is what I'm in. There's still no snatchiness. There's also no waggle in the throttle tube. For a ride-by-wire bike, there's no waggle, which you normally always get a bit of waggle if it's ride-by-wire, but this one, no. Honda have it spot on. Number 4 on the list, I think it's number 4. I've lost count already. But it's a bit related to the throttle response, but it's the smoothness of the whole bike. You jump on it and it's just a joy that everything just works so nicely. The engine is so smooth. It may be a straight 4 engine, which they do lack character, as I mentioned in the other video, but what they give you back is ultra smooth performance. You can sometimes have vibrations with the straight 4 engines. There's no real vibes as such on this engine, just smooth power. But the final thing I really like, which is almost 2-in-1 this one as well, but it's the way the modes work on this bike. The bike has got 4 modes. You've got your rain mode, which basically is minimal power, maximum traction control, I think minimal engine braking as well, because you can adjust the engine braking on this, which is nice. It also, in rain mode, it limits your power output in the first 3 gears. So first, second and third, you've got minimized power output. And it's the same story with the standard mode. The standard mode will give you 2 blobs of power, 2 blobs of traction, and middle of the road engine braking, and it will also limit the power in the first 3 gears. So bear that in mind if you're running around in standard mode and wondering where all your performance has gone in the lower gears. The sport mode will give you full power in all gears. It will also give you only 1 blob of traction, so minimal traction, full engine braking and full power, as I mentioned. But the beauty of this is the user mode. The user mode, you can configure it as you wish. So you can have minimal traction control, because the anti-wheelie is built into the traction control. So if you want to do wheelies, which it will let you have a bit of fun with the wheelies on traction level 1 and still have a safety net, which is nice. So you can have user mode. So I have mine at traction level 1, full engine braking, because that's my preference. I like a lot of engine braking, and full power. So the user mode is great. When you turn the bike on and off, it will keep you in your user mode. The only thing which I don't like about the user mode is if you turn the traction control off, when you switch the bike on and off, it will still come back and it will put your 1 blob of traction on. It won't keep the traction control turned off once the ignition's turned off. The icing on the user mode and electronics cake is this little button here, which you think is the headlight flasher button. It's not. It's a quick, fine button to turn the traction control off completely. You hold that button down for a couple of seconds, the traction control is now turned off. So if you do want a proper stonking wheelie, just hold that button down for 3 seconds and your traction control's off. I think that's great. They've made it just easy to find turning the traction control off, which almost goes against what this bike is about, not being a hooligan machine. They've got a button, they've got a wheelie button, more or less. It's got a blooming wheelie button. Okay, so on to the dislikes. What don't I like about this? Well, I struggle to think of things I don't like, to be honest. There's so much good about this bike that I struggled to think of bad points. And then when I started to think of the little niggles, I had more than 5. But there's nothing seriously wrong with this bike. The biggest issue I have is the handling, and this is quite handy because it's a good little bit of road here. And we go into it again. The handling, even after twiddling, it's improved, but it's never going to be a Tuono. It's never going to be a Super Duke in the corners, which is fine. Not everyone wants that, but I just think the rear shock is not really good enough. It needs a better rear shock. The front forks are okay, but it's definitely on my negative list. The handling is just not quite up there where I'd like it to be. That's my main negative point. Everything else is a little bit silly. My next negative is this light here. I have no clue, even after riding this bike around for 10 days, what that light is about. I thought it was a shift light, but it seems to make no sense as a shift light. It doesn't change colour the more the revs increase. Sometimes you can be at 2,000 revs and it will be red. I thought maybe it's an economy light, but again it makes no sense as an economy light. Full throttle and it's still blue. I mean, I thought maybe then it was an engine temperature light, you know, to say your bike's cold, but the bike is fully warm and I still have a blue light. So even after living with this bike, I don't have the manual for this bike, so I couldn't check, but just riding the bike I could make no sense of that light. It's blue. I can't even see. Oh, it's gone to sort of pink now. And as I slow down, please, if you know what that light is all about in the comments, let me know, because I ain't got a clue. Look, we finally have some sunshine in one of my bike review videos. It's been a while, hasn't it? The temperature, I think, has just turned and we're getting a bit of heat now, which is another criticism, because I don't know what the temperature is, because there's a couple of key things just missing from the instrumentation compared to what you get on other bikes nowadays. It's got a fuel gauge, as I mentioned, but it doesn't have an outside air temperature. Most of the other nakeds now have some sort of outside air temperature. There's nothing on this. You've got engine temperature, but no outside air temperature. You've got a fuel gauge, but you've got no distance till empty, which you get on most bikes now, so it doesn't tell you how many miles you've got left in the tank. I'm getting a bit picky, as I mentioned, but it's just a couple of things which are missing from here, which would be nice to see. Oh, another negative point, which again is something you can probably get used to, is the indicators are where the horn should be, and the horn is where the indicators should be. They're the wrong way round. Every time I need to look before I indicate, because they're in the wrong place, and I believe that's all the Hondas are like that now. Again, you get used to it, but if you're riding multiple bikes and you're swapping between bikes, that is the wrong way around, in my opinion. I'll have to pull over because I can't remember what else I had on my negative list. This is how thorough these reviews are. I've got full notes on everything, you see. We're very thorough around here. Oh, there's the horn trying to cancel the indicators. Exhibit A, Your Honour. Fuel gauge, yeah. Look, yeah. Shift, yeah. Yeah. I know what the last two things are. Roll some mid-brake ads. Only joking, I don't do that. The other thing which I don't like about this bike is it is geared ridiculously high. Why Honda have it geared as high as this, I don't know. Just dropping a tooth on the front sprocket would really liven this bike up, and I think it would transform it. If I were to have one of these, my first job, I think after it was running, would be putting a smaller front sprocket on. I think that would just give it a little bit more punch, because the problem is it's quite flat, this engine. As you saw in the chug test from the previous review, it's really lacking, and it's okay below 4,000 revs. Where it's lacking is between 4 and 7,500 here, full throttle. It's not got enough pull, and dropping a tooth at the front and maybe even increasing a couple at the rear would really liven the bike up, because you don't need to do 175 miles an hour on a naked bike. This thing cruises at 70, 80 at like 5,000 revs. You don't need it that low. Drop the gearing a bit, but you can't go out, you can't cruise anything over 85 on a naked anyway, so anything over 85 it can be revvy, because you're not going to be sitting at maintained speed at that. So drop the gearing, liven it up. So there we go, the CB1000R. It's a lovely bit of kit. It may not be my first choice if I was looking for a naked bike, but it's certainly comfortable, it's certainly capable. A few choice modifications, relatively cheap modifications, which could be done over time and it would be transformed. I love it. I love the overall fit and finish of the bike, the overall feeling the bike gives you. Oh, hang on, easy. It's not overly sporty, but as just a smooth cruiser almost. It is delicious. So massive thanks to Wheels Motorcycles for lending me the bike. Without them lending me bikes, these reviews wouldn't be happening, so it's really appreciated. And Wheels have also started supporting the channel as well, a bit of channel sponsorship to give me a few pennies for petrol. So yeah, massive thanks to Wheels. This goes back on Wednesday and you're not going to believe what Wheels are giving me for another week to play on. It's a bike I'm so excited about testing. I can't wait. Info soon. A first video will be up soon because I've not seen any road test reviews on this bike yet. I've seen track tests to give you a clue, but I've seen no road reviews yet, so I'm hoping for a quick uploaded video of the bike they're sending me next. Oh, Wheels, I love you.